Hey y'all, it's funny because last year I lamented whether or not I'd have the ability or the energy or even the want to keep doing these mental health vlogs. I wrestle with what I'm willing to share in some of these things and, the worries and cavets that come with sharing my mental health journey as I live with mental health issues, because the whole idea of unreliable narrator can come into play when it comes to people who have mental health issues. So, if you're watching this, because I hate giving long ass disclaimers, you need to understand that I am just a person who was diagnosed with both schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. I have also been classified as a sociopath by an actual psychiatrist because of my health issues. It does not make me a bad person. I had to wrestle with that. That's why it was hard for me to share those things in the past when I would have podcasts and vlogs and stuff like that, because there is still an undercurrent of misinformation, misunderstanding, and people who wear mental health issues like a fashion accessory for their bad behavior. I had to accept that the bad things that I've done are my acts, and that whether or not I have changed from that, the damage is still done. I have to take accountability constantly for when my mood gets me into a bad situation. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, especially if they're not getting help and they're not lucid. And I say that with the added caveat that since COVID-19 dropped, getting help for me has been harder. So I have been relying heavily on my support system of friends who are like family to me, and taking my meds as best I can, because those get pricey, y'all. It's expensive to keep your mind from doing the things that it normally does, and getting sleep is so vital and important to this. And a lot of the medications I have help with shutting my brain down enough to get some sleep, because when I don't get enough sleep is when the really exciting parts of my mental health issues come to light. And I want to talk about things like disorders, because I feel like in the last few years, a lot of people are online, and the internet is forever going to be a big part of people's lives. And I know that there are a lot of people studying psychology, studying psychiatry, who understand that people with mental health issues now have access to the internet. And it's not just the people who will get on in front of a camera with tinfoil on their heads talking about whatever random conspiracy theory. There are people with deeply emotional issues, whether they have ideation with self harm or ideation with not being here anymore. There are a whole lot of us who come to the internet to look for commiseration, camaraderie, and to craft personas. And that is why I want to talk about something that I've seen over the years, something that I think I have flirted with, and to take full accountability, I probably really indulged in. I feel like anybody with insecurity issues, anybody who is struggling with their own mental health, anybody who sees the internet as a way of escape could have these issues. And that's why I want to bring it up. And I know everything has a term now. So me bringing a whole nother term that somebody can glance onto, it's probably gonna rub some people the wrong way. But I think having terminologies help people understand and identify problems that they might not want to look at times, and problems that they might not know they have. So I'm calling this disorder. Whew, take a breather, 10. I'm calling this disorder digital presence disorder. And why do I call it digital presence disorder? It's because it's online. It's definitely how you carry yourself, the mask you think you're wearing online, the behaviors you engage in online can be a front for very deep, disturbing mental health issues. And I say that as somebody with diagnosed deep, disturbing mental health issues. Digital presence disorder is the face you think everybody should see of you, even though it's not your real persona. It is maybe you think you can pull off being the nice best friend to everybody. That sweet personality when you really don't like yourself, you don't like the world, and you're really not as together as you want to be. And a lot of people online do this. The happy family picture as not so happy things are going on in the background. The I'm a nice person while you go to anonymously talk shit about people. That is a reality for a lot of people, but those with digital presence disorder go to extreme modes to try to prove that they're one way while doing everything in the opposite. They'll act like they are so charitable and they give and they do things when, honestly speaking, they're probably committing criminal acts and they're greedy and they're selfish. It is very easy to see how they fall apart too when you see the patterns. One of the things I tell people all the time, I don't like being put up on a pedestal. I don't call myself a nice person. I don't call myself a saint. I've never believed that you should attribute good attributes to yourself. That if you're doing good attributes, other people see that and say that. And I've carried that belief system since I was younger. But there were times when I was doing my digital presence bullshit that oh no, I'm really good. Oh, I'm an empath, knowing damn well, especially now that I can openly say I've been diagnosed with sociopathy, that I don't feel empathy the way normal people do. I know that empathy exists. I know that there are times where I could tear up from something, but it's just my interest in it. And I will start trying to do these vlogs so that you can understand my thought process, because not every sociopath is the same either. I have a lot of emotional traumas and issues that have kind of weirdly put me together as a person. So I am not the same as a sociopath who has completely no emotions whatsoever. I can fake my way through a lot of things, sadly. I've had to. It's a way to survive. It is complete survival instinct for a lot of people to try to look normal, whether it's online or off. So having digital presence disorder when you're a sociopath is not a far cry. You want people to believe certain things about you so that life is a little bit easier. It's a lot less of a headache, but it can bring on headaches. I got called a cult leader, y'all, by people who didn't even fucking know me because of the presence that I had, especially back between the years 2015 and 2018 when I was really getting into political and social commentary. And it was overwhelming because I just wanted to gather a group of people to do roundtable discussions about politics and social issues. And it just devolved into bullshit. And when I wasn't getting into online feuds with trolls, which is exhausting, but I see why people do it, because you get this feeling that you're doing something good when you argue against senor or senora numbers in their name. And they're probably bots, but even if they aren't, these people aren't worth your time and attention. But you just get into your head that arguing with them and dissing them somehow gives you a win, and it's never a win. I'm gonna tell you right now, all it does is burn you out, because there's a never ending stream of these types. And they come in different forms and different belief systems, and arguing with them gets you nowhere. But it took me years of doing that dumb shit to finally get to this point. And there are a lot of you who are still doing that because somehow you equate dialogue with these people and dinging them and calling them stupid a win. It's not. But everybody gets to that point in their life, hopefully. I did about 2 years ago when I realized that it's a circular thing. It really is. I become the person that I'm supposedly dinging with my sharp wit and witty tweets. No, honestly speaking, the only difference between them and me is I'm not afraid to put my name out there. And the reason why I'm not afraid to put my name out there is because people were threatening to dox me when I was just going as Kalari. And I realized that I'm not going to let these fools have power over me. I'm not afraid of my identity. I'm not afraid of who I am. So, yeah, I'll use my real name. Yeah, I'll use my face. You know, as much as I like using the Kalari name because it's from my D&D days and because I use it for gaming, it isn't who I am, and I can separate from that digital presence now. Before I probably couldn't. Before I really tried to live my life as that character, and I realized I don't have to anymore. But there are a lot of people who can't do that because, and I know a lot of my crafted persona was a front for all the insecurities I had, a front for all the things that I did not like about 10 that I could put into Kalari and be as a front. And I say this because there are so many people that get outed all the time for who they truly are. And I'm going to say this to the offense to some people. If you have to create an anonymous account to say shit about people, to spout hatred, that's who you really are. I know it really burns people when somebody says this, but if you can't own your real thoughts as your real self, they're not good thoughts. If you have to hide behind an anime avatar, if you have to hide behind a name that isn't yours just to say harmful, hateful things, that's just another aspect of your personality that you thought you hid well enough. And what I say this is because, as a person who is considered marginalized, as a black human female who happens to be fat, who has to wade through the minutia of online opinion and feelings, and people who swear they're my ally, which I tell people all the time, if you're telling me that you're my ally and I'm not seeing those actions, and I'm not telling you myself that I see you as an ally, I'm putting you in the block bin of my mind anyway, because I don't like people who have to tell me things about themselves. I should be able to see it. You shouldn't have to brag to me that you've always been on my side. It's often those people that have those alternate digital presences that are hateful and say awful things and stalk people online. Stalking people online is a big issue with digital presence disorder that I don't think people want you to touch on, but you gotta. Because when you're that deeply obsessed with the internet, going to people's pages, obsessing over their little every little word they say, taking pictures of them, keeping a catalog and a file of everything they're doing is a bad, toxic thing. And you shouldn't be doing those things, but there are a lot of people that do that. Like years and years of screenshots of things because this has become your life. Being this wannabe internet sleuth, waiting for that gotcha to expose because somehow then you'll go viral and become popular. And becoming famous is now a goal for a lot of people. It's why a lot of people put out content, and I'm not trying to bag on people's bags. Get that money how you can. But the problem with it is it comes with a host of people who are lurking, who might follow you while you're at that pinnacle, while you're up there, waiting for you to fall. Waiting to say, yeah, I've been following them for years. I pulled receipts here, there, and everywhere. I trapped them in DMs. It is a mess, y'all. So I say this to you. If your digital presence is so vastly different from your online name, you might want to take a step back. You might want to look at some of the toxic things you're doing as a digital presence and stop. Get help. Stop feeding that insecurity in your mind that tells you that you can do this and get away with it. You're the smartest person in the room. People won't figure out A and B. You will get caught because aspects of your real personality will clash with the mask you think you wear well. It's just a reality of the situation. It's why it's easier for me to be open and candid now. It was harder for me to constantly pretend like everything was fine. Things are not always fine. Sometimes it's my fault things aren't fine. When you have a volatile temperament, when you have a mind that sometimes won't shut the fuck up, when you have emotional mood swings, it can be hard to deal with. That's why a lot of times I isolate myself. And I know friends, my dear friends, people I actually call friends, have accepted this, but I know it's not easy. I would not want to be friends with somebody like me, and I tell people that all the time. And I know people are like, "Oh, she's saying that for sympathy." Oh no, Tim, don't be. It's the truth. I am a very distant person. Especially now that I'm older, my time is not for everybody. And I know a lot of people who want friendship can't understand that. They try very hard, new people who want to get into my life, to figure out where they can be. And a lot of times they get rubbed the wrong way when it's like, nope, your time's up. I do not have an infinite amount of time, and I don't want to waste time talking to people sometimes. And being that blunt has helped me. Boundaries is very important to me, and a lot of people who try to establish new friendships with me don't want to respect boundaries. So a lot of times I just completely cut off contact. That's just the way it is. With my former digital presence, I tried to be everybody's best friends, and it was over fucking whelming. It's still overwhelming. There are times where I log into Twitter and just nope after a while because my DMs are full. Sometimes it's really nice, positive, encouraging messages, but sometimes it's really deeply disturbing stuff that people say that they don't even realize is disturbing, but it's like you don't know me that well. And the way you talk is just, it's not it for me. And I don't want to offend people because people get very. I had a woman get offended about a joke I made about somebody else. So I know that Twitter, especially, is a landmine. So instead of getting people's feelings hurt, I just distance myself. I shut it down. I go away. I calm my nerves and the voices in my head and tell them, yeah, it's not a plot against you, Tin. This is just how it is. The more people that follow you, the more people that for some reason think the shit that comes out of your mouth is fun for them to listen to, the more you're going to have to deal with this. But it is not easy because I need people to understand that I am not the Kalari persona. I love the name. I'm going to keep using the name for gaming purposes and not. But the real woman, Tin, has issues and is not your best friend. And I don't say that to hurt people's feelings. I say that as a reality that I am emotionally detached from a lot of this. I say nice things because it's good to say nice things. It's not because I feel those things I say. I am civil to those who are civil to me, but if I have to be nasty, yeah, really quick. No thought behind it sometimes, just instant razor slash to you if I have to be. That bluntness comes from years of dealing with emotional trauma and neglect and very physical abusive situations. It has molded me into a character that I feel safe as. And that is the character of this is how I am, accept it or move on. I am not going to keep trying to be the person that everybody gets along with because that doesn't make sense. We are a world of billions of people, maybe even more now, maybe no, maybe less now because of COVID. We're not always going to get along. We're not always going to see eye to eye. And then this feelings over fact type society, yeah, I'm not here for everybody. I'm not trying to be here for everybody. And accepting that has taken a lot of weight off my shoulders. Having doctors help me see how my personality has helped me survive this long has taken a lot of weight off my shoulders. And realizing that, just speaking up helps people who might still be struggling with this. because I know there are people that don't understand. I know society doesn't understand what it means to just not want to deal with the social bullshit, not want to deal with other human beings sometimes, being okay not having to have certain relationships in your life because they're exhausting. But having a disorder like digital presence, you fake that funk until it all comes crashing down. And I want to save people from that. Like I said, the whole crafted persona thing can only last so long. Your real personality will start pushing through. And if you craft a persona to hide the more harmful, hateful belief systems you have while pretending to be a social leaning, fight for the marginalized type, that shit will come out too, because it is hard to have those kind of two-faced leanings. And we have seen some really popular people on here fall to that bullshit. Don't say you're for BLM in one breath and then have your neo-Nazi rainbow unicorn account in another. There are way too many people getting busted on this because y'all could never live up to the real ideologies that you embrace, because you know that wouldn't get you a bunch of likes from people that would come out of pockets for you. No, you would rather skirt the fence of being a so-called ally, very loud, telling people that you're our ally type, while having that other persona that is harmful and hateful and goes to anonymous boards and spouts harmful, hateful things to let off steam. And why does that let off steam for you? If I don't like somebody, my first normal reaction is to just not deal with them, because honestly, it's a lot less energy on my part. But if somebody gets to the point where I do notice them and makes it interesting, because I love it when somebody I don't like makes it interesting, I go for the jugular if I can. People let you know something about them that they are really insecure about online, especially if you're a sociopath, because you pay really deep attention to the things they say and they don't say. And their insecurities, they wear it like a fucking makeup cover up, for real. It is insane the amount of stuff people give you just in your interactions with them about the things that you could jump upon and make their lives miserable. That's why I work hard not to be that nasty of a person, but in reality, a lot of you make it easy. And that's the scary thing about being online. Some of you overshare your shit a bit way too much. Some of you are really out there about things about yourself that you know ain't true. You know, it wouldn't even take a deep paper trail to figure out your stuff. And a lot of you are out there for attention that you might not have gotten as a child, or the neglect that you felt in the past. This is your validation that yes, you can be popular. Yes, you can be liked and loved. And I'm here to tell you that I'm not shitting on you for that. I understand that. I understand that need to be accepted in a world that has rejected you constantly, sometimes for shit that isn't even your fault. But what I'm telling you is it can be unhealthy if this is the only thing you've got and you feel like you can craft this persona that everybody likes when you don't like yourself. And if you don't work on that number one issue, it's going to come falling apart at some point. It really is. I take it from somebody who has seen it happen, who has felt the blows of shit that really sometimes wasn't my fault, but sometimes was. Because I just thought that I could pull it off being one way when I really was another way. You have to work on the person you truly are. And then you realize that I don't have to get online and say this stupid shit. It's for who? More insecure people like me who might give me a like, but really are waiting for me to fall so that they can get that dings too, because that really is the toxic cycle of online right now. You get popular based on something you said or a belief that you espouse that a whole bunch of other people agree with. And then the moment you fuck up, you really get to see who has your back. And a lot of times it isn't anyone. especially depending on the level and severity of your fuck up, because they're all in the same boat trying to get where you are in their mind, whether it's Twitter famous or YouTube famous or Twitch or whatever online bullshit. They are waiting with bated breath for your fall. So I suggest that if you're leaning heavily into your digital presence because it gives you a sense of security or superiority or identity away from the identity of yourself that you don't like, you instead work on that identity that is truly you. Own who you are, get help if it's detrimental, and stop trying to craft a character for yourself because it never works out. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. I hope that what I said, and I'm going to touch upon this topic more. I think I'm putting it out there because I know there are a lot of people studying psychiatry and psychology that need to start understanding the digital presence influence for people with mental health. And this isn't going to go away. I know that there's barely understanding for mental health issues as it is, but with the onset of being online, with the onset of people utilizing mental health to cover things like racism and cover things like really awful behavior, I need more people who actually study this to start studying the coexistence of the internet persona and mental health, because there are a lot of us who think we can cover our issues with a digital presence and we can't. And if we don't work on getting help, all we'll do is get a big echo chamber of people who encourage the more toxic sides of our mental health until the inevitable happens. And I have seen way too many people let that internet persona engulf them so much that they no longer want to be there and they do the worst. So I'm saying this for people in the mental health field. We need you to start studying this. We need you to start investigating the emotional charlatans as well, because there are a lot of people who think they can fake their way through this, and it's detrimental to those of us who live with this stuff. And I don't want to end this with a rant, but it really burns me up, the people who keep yelling mental health after they do something bad, mental health after they do something awful, when those of us who struggle with this, we're not trying to shy away from awful things. We're just not doing it 24/7 and using our mental health as a fucking excuse for it. So yeah, it burns me up, but that's a whole topic for another vlog. I have let this go on long enough. I've got to make lunch for the kid. He did his schoolwork early, so I'm excited. I got the rest of the day to myself to do whatever, and I think I'm just going to rest my brain. So if you tuned in for this full 30 minutes, thank you. There will be another one of these within the next week, and I appreciate you watching. I also want to touch upon, before I completely end this, there are people who have been asking me to do Patreon. I have put out a thread on Twitter, but maybe too long didn't read. I don't do things like Patreon because I feel like when I want to take a break from making content or just the world itself, it's not fair for people to donate to me for content that they might not get. I don't believe in doing exclusive content. And like I said, this is not to ding those who do. I want people to get their bag. This is me personally. I don't do things like that because I don't feel comfortable. I never want to put out content that's only for people that give me money. If you offer me something monetarily because the things I say or do help you, great. I have a PayPal me. You can send something that way. I also sometimes will bump up somebody's charity. You can help those people out. For me, that is more helpful than you directly giving me money. But if you want to subscribe to something that I do that will help me, I have a Twitch channel. I will link that as well. You can follow, you can sub. I do a weekly podcast called the Bonnet Chronicles. Those are ways you can monetarily help me without pushing me into something that for me feels like I would have to constantly be making content or hear the words, well, I give you money and you're not even giving us anything exclusive. I don't want to deal with that bullshit, so I won't do it. That is my personal thing. That doesn't have to be other people's. I just want to make that clear because when I come out against something that I personally don't like, kind of like I had to deal with makeup and stuff, I get a lot of people who read whatever they want into it. I am saying directly, I have no problems with Patreon. I've supported friends' Patreons in the past, especially my writer friends, because I know how hard it is to put your written work out there. But for me, I just emotionally don't want to deal with that. And there are plenty of people who know my PayPal me. There are plenty of people who have graciously donated to my PayPal me over the years, even who will DM me, hey, Tim, do you need anything? I know times can be rough. And I appreciate all of you. It's hard for me to accept kindness because it always came, especially when I was younger, with bad. So I just feel blessed that people want to be nice and do things, but I always feel like I'm waiting for them to turn that knife too. So it's a weird thing with me. So if you do want to help my channel besides subscribing, which you can do, if you want to do monetary stuff, since I am not an affiliate on YouTube, I don't even know how to become one. I'm still learning all this stuff. I'll link my PayPal me. You can hit up a donation for the mental health vlogs for that. I'm fine either way. Sharing this helps me as well because I really want to get the word out from people who live with us, people who are lucid and people who aren't, who are online trying to figure out, am I alone in this? You're not. But like I said, I hate when I get to the point where I feel like I'm rambling. So I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you, everybody who's been tuning into these. And I will see you next week.